Darling, did you know that you can earn $250,000 a year and still feel the cold breath of poverty every single month? I've seen it happen more often than I care to admit. In the quiet corners of Mayfair and the glass towers of Manhattan, there's a very specific kind of rich person who secretly has less freedom than the woman who cleans their office. They have the most beautiful lives on the outside, the kind that makes strangers on Instagram ache with envy. But behind the hand-poured candles and the custom-tailored suits, they are shivering. Today, I'll show you what it really means to be rich on paper, but broke in reality. We are going to dissect why a high income quietly traps people instead of freeing them. Because the danger, darling, isn't obvious. It doesn't arrive with a bang. It builds slowly, logically, and very, very expensively. And the most terrifying part? You might already be building your own cage without noticing a single bar. By the end of this, you'll know if you're an owner or just a very well-paid tenant of your own life. Let me introduce you to Daniel, corporate lawyer, 28, $240,000 a year. He has an ocean view apartment that smells of expensive leather and ambition. He looks rich. He feels successful. But every month, like a clockwork tragedy, Daniel starts over at zero. Let's walk through his civilized life. Rent is $4,300. The car lease? $1,150 for a German engine he only drives to sit in traffic. Dining and networking, which is just a fancy word for buying expensive wine to impress people he doesn't even like. That's another $2,000. Add in the travel, the curated subscriptions, the essential lifestyle upgrades. That's over $11,000 a month just to keep the lights on in his ego. After taxes, Daniel saves maybe $1,500. On a spreadsheet, it looks fine. It looks responsible. But that is the first lie of the golden cage. Here is the shift most people never make. High income does not create wealth. It creates pressure. It creates the exhausting necessity to look like you belong in the room you've just fought so hard to enter. And here is the secret Arthur, my old banker friend, once told me, your income is not your safety. Your margin is. Daniel doesn't have margin. He has commitments. He is a high-performance athlete on a financial treadmill. If he stops running for even a week, the machine throws him against the wall. He isn't working for himself anymore. He is working to pay for the version of himself that he sold to the world. And here is the part that should make you slightly uncomfortable. If nothing changes, Daniel's future is already written. 5 years from now, his income will likely be higher, and his expenses will quietly follow. 10 years from now, he will have built a life that is too expensive to pause, and far too expensive to escape. And 20 years from now, he will not be choosing when to stop working. He will be negotiating with his own lifestyle. He is not an owner. He is a custodian of a life he cannot afford to lose. High income doesn't make you rich, darling. It gets absorbed. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a few $1,000s, Margot. I'll make it up next year. Let's look at the ghost of that next year. Let's scale Daniel's numbers so you can see the skeleton of his future. $1,500 saved per month is $18,000 a year. Sounds decent for a beginner, doesn't it? If he invests that for 25 years at 8%, he ends up with about $1.3 million. Now watch this carefully. If Daniel reduced his lifestyle by just $2,000 a month, just $2,000, he would have $1.8 million. But we are not done. Stretch that over 30 years. And that difference is no longer $500,000. It's closer to $2 million. $2 million. Quietly dissolved into better wine, slightly nicer furniture, and a version of himself he won't even recognize in 10 years. His lifestyle isn't expensive. It's a long-term liquidation of his future. But it gets worse. We call it lifestyle gravity. Once you upgrade your life, darling, you don't go back. You move into a better area. And that apartment doesn't just cost $4,300 a month. It decides everything. It decides what coffee you drink, what restaurants you consider normal, What kind of car feels appropriate? I know, darling, that $9 coffee doesn't feel like much, but it's $3,000 a year, invested over 20 years. That's $120,000 for caffeine. And it's not just the coffee, darling. It's the people you drink it with. Lifestyle gravity doesn't just change your bank statement. It changes your social circle. Suddenly, your friends are people who also spend $11,000 a month. You can't leave the cage because your entire social life is built on the cost of the bars. Your income grows in steps, a promotion here, a bonus there. But your lifestyle? It grows continuously, like a vine quietly tightening around your throat. There is a point where your lifestyle becomes too expensive to walk away from. Daniel crossed that point years ago. You didn't upgrade your life, Daniel. You upgraded your burn rate. You've made it more expensive to exist as yourself. And that, my dear, is not success. That is dependency. Daniel tells his friends at brunch, "My net worth is nearly $1 million." He feels tall when he says it. But let's look at the skeleton in his closet. $650,000 is equity in his apartment. Money he can't touch unless he sells his roof. $180,000 is in a retirement account he can't access for 30 years. His actual cash? $8,000. He earns $250,000 a year, and he has less than 1 month of survival in the bank. Daniel's $1 million net worth is a museum. Beautiful to look at, but you can't eat the art. If the world stops for a month, he is a man in a tuxedo begging for a life raft. If Daniel loses his job tomorrow morning, he lasts exactly 3 weeks before the panic sets in. Meanwhile, a woman earning $80,000 who lived like she earned $50,000 and quietly built $60,000 in cash, she sleeps, she waits, she chooses. Daniel reacts. Daniel is not wealthy. He is a liquid. He is a giant with glass ankles. Income creates status, darling, but only cash creates power. So how do you avoid becoming a Daniel? Step 1. Define your burn rate ceiling. If you earn $200,000 and spend more than $120,000, you are not building wealth. You are maintaining an illusion. If that sentence makes you uncomfortable, good. That's where the problem usually hides. Step 2. Build real liquidity. 6 to 12 months of expenses in cash, not in stocks, not in crypto. In boring, accessible cash. That is the price of sleeping through a crisis. Step 3. Track opportunity cost. Every $1,000 you spend today on something forgettable is $7,000 your future self will never see. At 55, Daniel will still be working, not because he lacks intelligence, but because his lifestyle never gave him the option to stop. The most dangerous financial position in the world is not being poor, it's looking rich, while being fragile, because fragility hides in the silk and the leather, until it doesn't, and when it breaks, it's never elegant. The people who look rich are often just renting their lifestyle from their future. I suggest you stop being the landlord's favorite tenant and start owning your time instead. After all, darling, looking successful is a full-time job. Being wealthy? That's a vacation that never ends. Decide which one you're applying for.